Peace and power, family. Blessings. Dr. Genesis R. Winkler back at you again. I want to talk about something today, and it's something I often hear, and I think there's some relevance to it, and that is whether or not rest in and of itself is revolutionary. Again, I want to talk about this idea whether or not rest in and of itself is revolutionary. As a psychotherapist, as a brother who, I see my dear brother Curtis Warren has joined me. Peace, brother. Peace, Baba. As a psychotherapist who over years and years who have been speaking to the importance of resting, getting proper sleep, adequate sleep for your mental health, and understanding the importance of it, I urge us not to conflate the idea of rest with revolution, or rest with the idea of being in and of itself a liberatory form of resistance. I get it, but I think there's some key problems that I have with this framing. One is the problem I have with the framing of rest as resistance, rest as being revolutionary, is the fact that most people, peace, Aaron Brown, peace. Thanks for joining. Most people that I hear utilizing these particular talking points conflate revolution or this term revolution with a survival tactics. We need rest. Rest is needed. It is not necessarily revolution. Now, do we need rest perhaps to get to revolution? We could say that. But the other idea, the other thought, the other argument is that it's a form of resistance. Now, my only problem with this idea that rest is a form of resistance, is that in many cases, the resistance is resisting the work that's going on in our own communities. I mean, people showing up at work clocking, they're putting their time cards in these clocks. But at the same time, they're talking about rest is resistance, or rest is revolutionary, or this type of thing when it comes to actually working in community with our people. Now, I get it. So it's all these boundaries and all these things being put up for those in our communities, for the work that's being done in our communities. Not, they still clocking those clocks. They still checking in and going in their regular 9-to-5 job or their governmental job or whatever they have. But they talk rest is revolutionary when it comes to organizing. They talk rest is revolutionary when it comes to doing community work. In fact, they might even look like they're doing community work. They may perhaps jump in and jump out with their non-committal selves, because we have commitment issues in our community that leads us to utilizing catchphrases, terms, and statements like rest is revolutionary when they're talking to people who are in the trenches, talking to people who are out here fighting for our people daily, as if you don't know that rest is essential. Rest is not revolutionary. Rest is essential. And I get what people like Dr. Ball, who typically often speaks about, look, we have to understand the difference. Like, he argues that black capitalism is not revolutionary. He says that now we black capitalism in itself can and will be used against us. And I'm arguing that also this idea of rest out of proportion, out of context, is being used against us, not for us. We need rest because it is essential. We need rest, again, because it is essential, not necessarily that it's revolutionary. Rest itself may be essential to some form of revolution, but it is only one piece. And not to use it out of context. There's this other thought that I want to kind of talk to. This other idea, this other thought is that we are tired. I've been hearing people say, we are tired. We've been fighting since we've been here. Okay, now we're going a little too far here. We are going too far. We're going a little too far here. We've been fighting since we've been here. No, you've been fighting since you've been perhaps born. Maybe when you were, maybe when you were born, and you probably wasn't fighting then. Perhaps you were. But the idea that we've been fighting since we've been here, so we're tired, so now we're going to rest, is a nice way to help you feel good about your inactivity. It's a coping mechanism. I promise you, it is a coping mechanism. Your ancestors and your work are not the same. Now you are to walk in your ancestral footsteps. Yes, we've been through all types of things. Yes, we've been fighting. Yes, we've been through the 80s and 90s, and I highlight that more than anyone. At this point, from what I know, I'm talking about now community and healing spaces, is that many people don't even understand and see that the war waging us with crack cocaine and other substances was a real war. But again, you still have a duty to fight. Now, it's okay if you don't want to. We all are a little different. But the reality is, I'm arguing to never utilize the works of our ancestors to support that we've been fighting since we've been here, when it's now your job to take on the fight in your generation. Rest is revolutionary. Rest is resistance. Yeah, that's being kind of taken out of proportion. That is lacking context. That is lacking honesty even. We will say anything to help soothe our discomfort in being inactive. Is rest revolutionary? No, it is essential. It's not revolutionary. And again, if it is essential, even if you want to use the word revolutionary, just don't use it when it's time to do community work. If it's going to be revolutionary, it's going to have to happen at the job. It's going to have to happen at your place where you work at. Now, if everybody said, look, rest is essential, rest is revolutionary, then it wouldn't just be when it comes to doing community work. It wouldn't happen to do when we're talking about black organization. It wouldn't happen to be when we're talking about building things together. It would be when you're clocking in the clock at work, the time clock at work. That is where it would be revolutionary. Let's say if we all say, look, we're not going to do this no more. We're not going to do that no more. We're not going to do this, so we're not going to take this substandard of living in our community. So we are going to collectively boycott, or we're going to collectively no longer do this at work. We're not going to collectively work ourselves till we're dead. When we're talking about the 9-to-5 jobs, when we're talking about the systems that are keeping us oppressed, not your black organizations, not your revolutionary organizations. This is when you want to use that. Rest is revolutionary when you're building in community. I am telling you, that is something, there is something very, what is the term I'm looking for? There is something very it's like a lie. It leads to, or like my sisters say, it gives untrustworthy. It gives untrustworthy. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, we have to really, misleading, Aaron Brown says. it's misleading, but it's just ingenuine. It's disingenuine. It's almost like you're lying. To say that rest is revolutionary only when it comes to working in revolutionary or grassroots organization is disingenuous. It's not genuine. It is perhaps a way to help you cope with your inactivity, the stress levels that that comes about as it pertains to working in these organizations, and to say that we've been fighting since we got here as if it's time to take a rest, to utilize our ancestors to say we've been fighting since we've been here. Yo, no, it's your time. No, it's your time. And it's not, you don't now say, well, let's aggregate what our ancestors did and say, well, look, we're tired of fighting. We're not fighting anymore. No, that is not reality. That is a cop-out. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? We're tired. We're resting now. No, you ain't. Look, you ain't even. You 40. You 30. You're barely an adult. Y'all like 40, barely adult. You've been doing 20 years of adulthood. And I promise you probably weren't in the struggle or revolutionary organization or grassroots organization most of those times. The people who have been, I understand how they get burned out. I understand that, but still, we have to begin to look at the very systems and resist the systems. We need to rest when we're looking at the systems and not the actual organizations of trying to bring about change. That becomes a cop-out. Rest is revolutionary. It can be if we use it in a way against the system, but not the very organizations that's trying to bring about change. We begin to, in our minds, and paint these pictures like the organizations that are trying to bring about change is more oppressive than the very organizations that you go and collect your paycheck. The reality is we don't want to combat those systems because they give us certain levels of comfort or stability or what have you, which is understandable. But let's be honest here. Let's just be honest that this helps me feel comfortable. This helps me feed my children. And we can have real, honest conversations about that. But when we are being disingenuous and now arguing that rest is revolutionary and only utilizing it or mainly utilizing it when it comes to working in community, that's disingenuous. That is a trick. That is a way to help you cope, but it is maladaptive. It does not liberate our community. Family, thank you for your time. I'm going to sign out. If anybody has anything to say, you know what I mean? Don't confuse it. Don't conflate it. And be genuine. Just speak truth. Speak truth. You're tired. And because you're tired, you're trying to feel good about it and rally up other people to join in on the way that you see things or feeling things. But never conflate rest with being revolutionary unless you're moving against the system, not grassroots organizations, not revolutionary organizations, not African-centered organizations, not Pan-Africanist organizations, not organizations that are fighting the system. Yes, rest, again, is essential. And it can be used revolutionary, but those who are speaking it are using it as a cop-out and a way to adapt or a way to deal with or cope with their inactivity. Until next time, family, I'm going to say peace and power. Follow me, subscribe, share this video once it uploads. Go to Dennis Ausar Winkler, Dr. Dennis Ausar Winkler on YouTube. Look at what we have going on. Go check out, come to our weekly fellowships at the Temple of New African Thought in Baltimore. You can join it live or you can join it in person, in person every Sunday at 1 o'clock. The stream starts at 1:30. Check us out on, go to TNAT, TNAT, was it TNAT hyphen HW? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Mark that out. templeofnat.org. Temple of Nat. Nat is NAT.org, and check out the events we have going on, the fellowships we have going on. Just hit us up. If you have any questions, concerns, send us an email, hit me up, text me, 443-333-2970. Peace and power, family.